Hi replayers, thanks for joining me. I know that Michael Klein is doing a scope right now, and I kind of expect to be fun to watch, but I have to get these checked and get them in the kiln so I can get that kiln firing. And while I was watching him, I thought, oh dear, I'm going to get behind, and so I thought I better go ahead and scope, and hopefully folks will catch this on the replay. I have been applying decals to pots the last couple of days, and I got a whole bunch of these done. About to throw these into the kiln. I wanted to show you how I double check to make sure there's no bubbles, make sure that they're ready to go, and show you kind of some of the finished product here, so at least finished until it's fired. So what I do when I look at these bowls, obvious. I see that there's a spot right here that's actually an indentation in the clay body, and it looks to me like the decal has sucked right down into that, which is great. That's going to mean that's got good adhesion there. So I'm not too worried about that one. Hi Judy, how are you? I am looking at this one. So this one also looks like I don't see any bubbles. I don't see any weird warps. Looks like that is in there. That was the one I had to cut off yesterday. Now with the decals, if you have any trimming or anything you want to do after something has adhered to the pot, you want to do it pretty quickly, because it can be one of those situations where it's glued down and you can't remove it without a lot of effort. This has got a little wrinkle right there, but I think that's okay. It's kind of on the edge. I did a couple of these with just slices into this decal because it helps relieve some of that pressure and helps that lay down a little bit better. So let's see, let's show you some of these dill decals. So this is the dill plant. So for me, this is really about referencing home and family and the old antique heirloom things that our parents or grandparents passed down to us. So the final finish, I hope, will reference that. We'll reference more of that heirloom style, the antique vintage Irish linen, antique doilies, the kinds of things we put out on our tables for decoration, or at least that my grandmother did. Here's another one of the bigger decals. Oop, that's a good crash. Let's see, let's find a wider mouth bowl here. There we go. So let's see, I want to look at, this has got a little bit of a bubble right there. So I think I will need to poke that with an X-Acto knife to get the air out of there. Yeah, I think otherwise, I think that's pretty well adhered. Now the other thing I want to check is make sure that that stem is really adhered into the foot. So I'll need to do that for all of these pieces. Large decal, again with the dill this time. And this one was a little more challenging just because of the way that foot rolls and getting that decal to lay flat in there like that. A little bit more of a challenge. There's another one, and that foot got filled with glaze, so I'm going to put a cookie under that one so that when we get back into the kiln it doesn't melt onto my shelves. So those are all done, and I also wanted to show you I've got a couple other test things going on here. I have these guys, which I just love damask patterns and things that reference those bold stenciled patterns from the 1920s and 1930s. I just really love the boldness of it. And I think that this could be a really interesting pattern. I collect these damask patterns. They're kind of reference architecture. And I just think that might be really a lot of fun. So that's going to be a test. I've kind of rubbed that because that means it's going to have even more of that worn feeling, that sense of age. I guess that's maybe the historian coming out in me. I just really think that it feels like it's something that's been around for a while, that has value, sentimental value, and something that maybe someone wants to use to just to feel connected with family and history. So I just think that's awesome. I really like that. So we're going to see how that comes out in the kiln. Also found this vine pattern that I liked, that I altered a little bit in Photoshop. And this is kind of the same kind of thing. It struck me as having that a similarly strong feel to the damask. And so I want to see how that looks when it's fired. And then last but not least is these test tiles. Now this is the little chubby bee that I drew, that I turned into a decal. And these are my test tiles. And one of the things I'm interested in this particular glaze is, this is my sort of my gawk glaze, you know, the glaze that has all kinds of different other glazes in it. And then underneath this is the Strontium Crystal Magic Cool. And I want to see if this is going to flow a whole bunch more, what that's going to do with the decal, see how that works. This is the same setup, but on this one I have Strontium Crystal Magic Warm and Strontium Crystal Magic Cool. And so that decal may move, it may not move, the glaze might move. I don't really know what's going to happen there. So I think that'll be an interesting test result. And then finally, this is that glaze, that gawk glaze, underneath the alabaster. And I'm curious to see if it'll do anything there. So that is what I have going on with my glazes today. I am going to go finish checking my bowls, making sure that all of those decals, see that one's got a little bit of a bubble in it right there, right in the middle, right there. I'm going to have to go in there and pop that. And get these in the kiln and get them fired up. So tomorrow at some point, it usually takes about 24 hours for me. I'm going to turn that around. It takes about 24 hours for me to get my glazes through their process, get my decals through their process. I'm putting this on my stand here. So let's not look at the ceiling so much. See what time it is? 10:30. Got to get this thing going. And I'm catching my daughter's cold, so I think that I will be really froggy tomorrow when I get these unloaded, but I'm hoping to unload these about 4 o'clock Mountain Time tomorrow. And I am also suspecting that my phone is recording the Periscope, and hopefully Periscope will catch it. I can tell by the lack of comments and hearts on the screen, and the number of people that are in the room hasn't changed at all for many minutes. So in any case, I hope you can catch this on the replay. I'm definitely having either app issues or phone issues or something with Periscope. So I'm sorry that we're not having the interaction that is one of the great appeals of Periscope. But in any case, I will post this on my Facebook page. I will post it in my blog at ZephyrValleyPottery.com. And tomorrow I'll unload the kiln. I'll do a Periscope. Whether it works or not, we'll see. But I'll show you the end result of what all of these decals have done. This is the first decal firing in the new studio. So I don't really know what's going to happen. I don't know how the glazes are going to be affected. So we'll find all of that out tomorrow. So thanks very much, everybody. I hope you enjoyed the Periscope, the broadcast in replay, and I hope you have a great weekend. Take care.